Thank you.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to our monthly Kitchen EDU webinar, Setting the Tone from Tough Conversations to Policy Enforcement. My name is Tyler. I'm the Director of Special Projects with the Food Corridor, and we're very excited to have you all here today, as well as our operators here that will be sharing their expertise. So before we get started, I wanted to just quickly introduce who the Food Corridor is in case you're not familiar with us. We are the #1 shared kitchen management software platform, and we're built specifically for the shared kitchen industry. So, what does that mean? We do everything from helping you book time, space, and equipment in your kitchens to automating billing with different billing plans. We help you with onboarding and making sure that your food businesses remain compliant and make that all easily trackable. Basically, everything that you need to do to run a shared kitchen that keeps you out of the kitchen and in the office. And we streamline it all and help with those necessary operational tasks. Relevant to today's topic, we also, through our platform, have the ability for you all to add fees for cleaning violations or damaged equipment. And these can really help with enforce policies within your kitchens. So you can make us the bad guy. Just assign that automatic fee. You can choose when to charge it, add it to their monthly bill, charge it right away, charge it at midnight that day, and make sure that everybody is adhering to the policies and procedures you set in place. Our sister site, The Kitchen Door, is a free listing platform for shared kitchens to advertise your kitchen space. Um, it's the #1 thing that pops up when food businesses Google shared kitchen near me is The Kitchen Door. And last year we merged The Kitchen Door with the Food Corridor. So all of your leads coming in through that platform go right into the Food Corridor account where you can easily manage your leads and prospects and turn them into clients and convert faster so you can start making money quicker. And then we have Kitchen EDU. This is the department that's putting on this webinar series. This is our education and resource department within the Food Corridor. We create all kinds of resources and tools for every stage of the operation, from exploring to expanding to refining your operations. We also moderate the NIC, the Network for Incubator and Commissary Kitchens Facebook group. There's a lot of great conversation happening there. So if you have not joined the NIC yet and you're on Facebook, please join. Everyone is really open and honest with sharing. There's lots of great conversation happening in the NIC. We have a monthly newsletter with lots of great information and educational resources, events, and tips. And then we host an annual Shared Kitchen Summit where we bring the industry together for 3 intensive days of learning, connecting, and celebrating. This year, we're going to Providence, Rhode Island in the fall. We hope to release those dates very soon. But we are going to Providence, and we end the Shared Kitchen Summit with the Golden Whisk Awards. This will be our third annual awards, celebrating all the great work that you all are doing. So it's a fantastic way to end out the summit and really celebrate together and keep those connections going. A couple of events we have coming up with Kitchen EDU. We have on the Food Corridor, we have a food business survey roundtable coming up at the end of this month. We will be conducting a survey of food businesses and shared kitchens, but we need your input. What do you want to know? What data do you want to collect? Come to our roundtable, help us formulate what this survey looks like, so we make sure that the data that matters most to you is getting collected. Our next EDU webinar is March 3rd, same time. Application to apron. We're talking about onboarding and vetting new food businesses. So, what do you look for with a food business lead that comes in? How do you make sure they're kitchen ready? And then how do you bring them through that onboarding process successfully? We're going to talk all about it. Our summit speaker applications are open. They close April 17th. So if you're interested in speaking at our Shared Kitchen Summit, start thinking about what that looks like, what you want to talk about, and get your proposal in. And I will send links to all of this as well as the recording of this video at the end of the day. So be on the lookout for that. So you're not here to hear me talk, though. We're here to hear from our guest operators here. We have Molly with Memphis Kitchen Co-op, John with Cherry Street Kitchen, and Nissa'a with Catapult Greater Pittsburgh, all here to talk about how they manage their policies and procedures in their kitchen and set the tone for a positive shared kitchen culture. So without further ado, we will get into it. And we are going to hear from Molly first. So Molly, I'm going to start your timer and take it away.
Hello, everyone. Molly McCracken with the Memphis Kitchen Co-op. We are located in a suburb of Memphis called Cordova. And we service about 65 different groups in the kitchen. We've got 6,500 square feet of kitchen space, and we offer an on-site marketplace for our members as well. So we utilize the food corridor heavily. There's no other way we couldn't do it without it. We have 12 different workspaces available in our kitchen. These first couple slides are just kind of giving you kind of a picture of what the kitchen looks like. This is just one side of our kitchen. We have a whole other prep side as well. Top right, that's just kind of our cook side, 6 workstations, and then we have 6 more on the opposite side. These kind of butt up to the line. And then the other side that's kind of where our bakers live, or if people are just doing prep work or packaging. There's no heat equipment over there, just mixers and lots of flour all the time. So go to the next slide there, Tyler. Here is just an overview of our kitchen. So you kind of just see kind of what we're working with here. Like I said, 6 workspaces on what we call the cook side, runs right up to the line. Dish area is kind of right in the middle of everything. Then we have a door that goes to our prep side, where a lot of our bakers live, and then it goes into our retail marketplace there at the front. We are open 7 days a week, 24/7 for the kitchen. We are open 7 days a week in the marketplace. We staff it. We also help people to handle their pickup orders so that my overnight people who maybe work daytime jobs can still come, do their production at night, set their pickups for their customers, and then we'll handle that for them. I have probably maybe a little less than half of my members that actually utilize the marketplace. It's not a requirement. It's just something, if they want to use it, they can. If we're there, if not, no big deal. And we have all kinds of different businesses in from people who are doing national, international shipping that are in the big grocery chains, stuff like that, to just people who this is just something fun for them, and they're baking cupcakes and pies and stuff like that when friends and family want it, and that's their side business and something they just enjoy doing. But we have a lot of people that are in there working, that this is their whole thing. This is what they do for work. This is it. And then we've just got a list of the different equipment and stuff like that we carry. So on the next slide here, we'll kind of get into what we're all here for. As far as our policies and procedures, this is just kind of a breakdown when I thought in my mind how this process works for us. I do feel like we have a fairly big membership base, and it's kind of a beast to run on a regular basis. So first off, where are our rules? This is the one thing that I try not to skimp on in any way, shape, or form. There should never be an excuse that I did not know that, or I have not seen that, or nobody told me. When they're onboarding, most of our rules are in our agreement. And some of that is even blanketed again by saying, like, following the health department rules, staying within health department guidelines. Most of the rules I have are already going to be rules from the health department. So that squares that away on top of everything else. Then in our orientation, they're pretty much going through how we clean up, what is expected, proper drip orders in the coolers, all the things, different health, safety and cleaning stuff. And then they're handed a physical copy of the rules before they walk out the door. It is like 3 pages stapled together. here you go. It has been put in your hand. It has been put in your inbox. It also stays in the food corridor in our document section as well. I have signs all over the kitchen. I'm sure some of you can relate. Nobody reads signs, but it's there. So when I get on to somebody for leaving the cooler door open and they're like, you didn't have to say it like that. And I'm like, sign right here. Please keep the cooler door closed. And then they're like, all right, it's like, okay, it is right there. I keep signs everywhere just because also a lot of times I feel like when we have violations, it's not necessarily the business owners themselves. I feel like more than anything, it's their staff. It's the people that haven't gone through the orientation, that don't have access to the back end of the food corridor. So we have kind of checkout lists posted, what is expected of you before you leave. That way, if you've not been told by your boss, it is still right there for you. And then we have QR codes all over the kitchen as well. That's something that's been really helpful. We kind of set up a YouTube page a long time ago, and we just have different videos from how to sanitize your table, how to use the dishwasher, how to do, how to use the big mixer, how to turn on and off the ovens, the hoods, everything. There are QR codes everywhere. And then we have one main one that says, follow this to go to how-to videos. And then that takes them to the YouTube page where they have all those videos they can select from. Because sometimes people will call and say, hey, it's my first day and I can't remember how to use the dishwasher. And I'm like, well, I don't always, it's hard for me to explain it because I don't use it all the time either. So I can point them to the food corridor document section. We keep a link for it in there as well. And they can go straight there and they can see all of those rules. They can see how we want things done. And then that should leave a lot less questions. So they have everything right there. And then of course, there are three of us that are kind of in charge of enforcing and everything else. And when we're at the kitchen, we are reminding, especially, all right, hey, you guys are going to get that trash free leave, right? Okay, cool. And so we're just kind of eyes out. And if we see something that we know could be a problem later, we might just be like, hey, you're going to, right? We're good. You remember that? Just kind of reminding when we leave. Next, just on the reporting violations, the way we get reports of this, number one, the staff. I have a marketplace staff that is there 7 days a week, usually from about 10 to 6, give or take on certain days. So they're good. They're there for a good chunk of the day. And then I have a facility manager and myself and my husband is going to stop by once or twice a day just to kind of pop in. And then our facility manager is kind of doing the same thing. But I don't have somebody dedicated on site 24/7. Nobody's rent is high enough for me to afford that. So we also rely on our cameras big time, as well as our other members. You come into a mess, you need to report it, and we just kind of tell people at orientation, you need to let us know so that we don't think it's you. Now, granted, we have cameras. We're always going to figure that out, but you don't want to come into a dirty workspace. So, and it's not fair for you to do that. We try to run a tight ship. We all share a health score. So everybody's health departments are different. I know that. Our health department does not inspect the businesses individually. They inspect the kitchen as a whole. I report to them who is under our umbrella. So if XYZ business over here is slinging raw chicken all over the place, that's going to affect me. The health department walks in and they're not wearing gloves while they're doing something, that's going to affect my score as well. So we tell people this is a community, we need help from everyone. We never tell who told. We always confirm our violations anyways. So a lot of times it's just oh, well, I was checking cameras because somebody left a dish out and I noticed you were doing XYZ without your gloves on. Just remember, we need to do that. So we definitely rely on our community to help us out with that. And then, like I said, we catch a ridiculous amount of things on our cameras. Just when we are looking at a violation that we know has happened, we usually will see some other things going on that, we need to talk to people about. Confirming our violations, we always confirm. And I feel like this helps us tremendously. We actually just updated our camera system again. And we have 25 cameras ish roundabout. They are everywhere. We've got great 180 cameras. a few times that we've ever assessed a violation that we did not blatantly have on camera. That is just something we kind of stick to. If we can't tell who did it, we're not guessing just by who had bookings and then, upsetting someone when we assess a fine that we can't go back and like actually prove was there. So we make sure we go back to the cameras and we know who has done what before. And then we use that footage when we're talking to them about their violations. We have learned that lacking accountability runs heavy in our kitchen. There are a lot of people that are, right off the bat, well, that wasn't my group. And I'm like, okay, as I said, if you would like to schedule a time to come in and look at the footage, I have it. So if you want to come in, we can do that perfectly fine, but I have footage. And that is in our email, which we'll talk about too. So assessing consequences. So, this can be tricky because I'm kind of like, you either did it or you didn't, you're getting a fine or you're not. Like, I'm kind of black and white when it comes to the rules. But at the same time, I also know that we have a space that's for startups for the most part. There's a lot of people that have no kitchen experience and they just do not understand or know the rules. A lot of them are very overwhelmed when they come into this huge commercial space and there's a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of people around them that do have experience and they can be kind of nervous. And I kind of assess, like, number one, was this their first time? Is this a group that I have a problem with on a regular basis? Or was this a new staff member that just didn't realize he needed to replace the trash liner after he took it out? I'm going to, and then at that point, like, I might just say, hey, saw you had a new guy in, make sure he gets that trash bag replaced next time, and then, we go from there. Now, some people, you can just tell it's a blatant disregard for the rules. Last week we had a group, two girls walked up to a cart covered in flour. They had a cleaning rag and they both kind of looked at each other and they're like, did we use this or did he, or I think we both used it? And they were like, meh, threw the rag in the bin and they left the cart dirty. That is a blatant disregard for the rules and just being completely lazy in my opinion. And some people you're going to see, like, she was over there scrubbing that pot for 30 minutes because she burned it up. Okay, like, she did try, and if they let us know about that, that's fine. Some people are going to walk over, look at it and go, yeah, I'm not doing that, and then they'll sit on the shelf. You're definitely getting a fine if that's what you did. Like, if there was zero effort, you didn't make anyone aware, then that's something that I'm not going to tolerate, because that's going to continue to happen over and over and over again. And then also, what is my cost in this? So we usually tell people you're going to get anywhere from a $25 to a $50 fine per violation. If I have to come in, or usually, like, if my store staff is there, or I've got some of my cleaning crew, facility manager, and it's going to take them 30 minutes to clean up after someone, they're on my clock. I'm paying them for their time to do that. Therefore, somebody is going to pay me. It is not my responsibility to clean up after anybody else's business. Nobody comes in and cleans up after my food business is in there, because I work out of there as well with my other business. And so that's something I also inform the members on. Like, when people get upset and I say, hey, like, I get that you're upset about this, but you need to understand that you not putting your dishes away meant my facility manager had to spend 30 minutes of his time doing that, taking your trash out. I have to pay him to do that. So I need to be compensated for his time. And usually when I say it like that, people are like, okay, like, all right, fine. Like, I get it.
Molly, I'm gonna have to jump in and cut you short so we can get through to the other ones.
Okay, I'm good. That was pretty much it.
Perfect. Great. Okay. We're going to move on to John, and he's going to explain a little bit about what they do at Cherry Street. We want to make sure we leave lots of time for questions you all have at the end, too. So, John, take it away. Oh, hold on, John, you're muted.
Hi, I'm John Vadnais from Cherry Street Kitchen. We're in Trenton, New Jersey. We service the Princeton area. We're in New Jersey. We're not in the New York Metro. We're more close to the Philadelphia Metro. We have, between 50 and 70 members at any one time. It varies, as you know, by the season. And what we do is we try to set the tone, and I very much appreciate what Molly said. I can identify. At any rate, so today I want to talk about how we set the tone. So first thing we do is, and as I suppose many of you are, we're very hands-on. We're in the kitchen a lot, and we get to know everybody's first name. We're big about that. We have some foreign names that are hard to pronounce. It's okay. We do that, and the idea is we want them to feel supported. We also reflect that in our pricing. Our pricing is probably a little lower than it could otherwise be. And our raises, which we raise every year, is probably a little less than we could get. But the idea is to try to build a community that appreciates being here. And I think we're doing that. So one way to set the tone is first to get to know the people nicely. Second, we want to know that they know the kitchen rules. And much like Molly said, that's a big deal. So what you see on the screen is something that's in the Food Corridor app that we put there. And this was before, I think, the Food Corridor came out with their procedures book. They have a book I think you can purchase with a lot of procedures, but we wrote our own. So we have CSK 100 we call them CSK guidance documents. So, overview of CSK 110 is gate access. We have a gate. Next one is safety and security, trash and recycling, kitchen cleaning. That's a big one. Kitchen behavior and attire and so on. So that's one way we make sure they know the rules. Another way is through signage. Same as, do they read it? Who knows? But we have to have certain signage. And another way, of course, and the most effective way is for us to be in the kitchen, to walk through the kitchen and correct them. We've had people who do this to wash dishes. They take a dish, they run the water, and they think that's going to clean the dish, and they don't set the sink up. Oh my God. It doesn't happen that often, but when it happens, we are right on it as long as we know about it, and we probably do. So that other way then is to actually be there in the kitchen with everybody and walk through and correct right on the spot. We focus mostly on business owners. So if we have somebody who's a staff person, for them, we talk to the business owner, not the staff person directly usually. The next way we do it is we make sure they know, okay, so we're hands-on, we make sure they know the rules. We send a message that while we are friendly, we are in charge. That's a big thing. Some people come in and they think they're in charge of the kitchen, but only to a certain degree. So the first way we do it is when we give the tours. Somebody come in and we have an outer room, the doors, then the kitchen. We have an outer door on the kitchen that says kitchen right there, so they want to get in the kitchen. So we start to walk maybe a little toward the kitchen. I say, well, wait a minute now, everybody has to have a hat. And, some people, that's fine. Other people, they're going, really? So I bring out a bouffant cap like this, and we put it on. We get them to put it on. They feel kind of dumb, some of them, if they're not too experienced. And here they got this ridiculous looking cap on. That helps. So we go in the kitchen, and I also will talk about open-toed shoes but I won't, require it. But I'll say, well, it's okay for the tour, but you have to write. So then while we're in the kitchen, we're looking at the kitchen. This is a great hat. I really like this hat. While we're in the kitchen, I talk about stories, like stories of people that didn't do things right or that did do things right, or even some success stories, but especially about the rules, about how you wash, about how you put things away, and all the other things that we do. So the message is that we are in charge, and it's really important that they get that message. The next thing is to encourage good behavior. We want the customers to appreciate and expect a clean kitchen. Okay, so that's why we're always telling stories about cleanliness, always encouraging them to tell us. And we've got most of our people kind of trained now, and it's kind of crazy. It's kind of ridiculous. We get people, John, the sink is dirty. Oh my gosh. So I go over to the sink, and the sink takes 30 seconds, okay, to fix. It's just, little stuff there, whatever. But I'd rather have it that way. I want them to tell me. Today, somebody told me something about the oh, something was leaking, and I want that. I really hate it when somebody doesn't tell me or tell us. So that's all part of it. We want them to expect a clean kitchen. We say, look, this is cleaner than a lot of other kitchens, and we kind of have stories that we tell. We want the customers to know we're paying attention. We have cameras everywhere. Our camera system probably needs to be updated. It's not quite as good as I like, but it's pretty good. And we've caught, as Molly said, violations a number of times. We have it documented. So they have to know we're paying attention. When they don't follow the rules, we have ways to discipline them, which is first to talk to them and second to fine them. We have a $75 cleaning fee, but in reality, it can be more or less depending how egregious it is. Or not, probably not less, but probably more. $75 is the starter. We don't have to do that very much, but when we have repeat offenders, you just have to do something, and that gets their attention. I think we have one person we fined 3 times, and that did the trick. They finally did clean up their act. So we use moderate discipline. We're not a lot of talking, a lot of jawboning. It's hard work. It takes a lot of energy to keep doing this. It's just always something. Where would we like to improve? We're still experiencing some shrinkage, you might say, inventory, of our pots, pans, and so on that disappear, and we don't like that at all. Tyler, maybe you could put up that one with a red. Yeah, that one. See those red bins? This is one of the most amazing things. We used to have 8 bins up there. Now there's 2. We just ordered some more. But what I'm going to do is put them out without mentioning this to anybody and count them every single day until I find out who's doing it. I can't tell whether it's somebody who just is desperate to have a takeout container of some sort or what it is. But when it's this many, we kind of divide people into two. I divide them into 2 categories, which is casual shrinkage or casual theft, even where somebody just needs something like some aluminum foil, or somebody who is really a thief. On the left, you can see a food processor. One day, we had somebody put in our carts that we provide, red carts to take things outside and what have you. And he had a food processor, one of ours there, and he had it all surrounded with his own stuff. So you could hardly see it. But one of our customers who was loyal to us came to me and he said, John, why is this guy taking a food? So I came, sure enough, he was taking it, So that was it. I mean, he was gone. And anybody who is really a thief has to go. They have to go. There's no other solution. They have to go, go, go. And we have the right in our agreement to do that. But most of that shrinkage is casual, I think, except some of it may be the workers. We're having a hard time really understanding this. But anyway, that's where we would like to improve. So setting the tone, we think, is really important. And we're also wrestling with how, when we're trying to bring on another person right now. How do I get that person to set the tone? Like my wife, Barbara, and myself run this together, and we can set the tone, but can somebody else? We don't know. And we're a little worried about that. Anyway, that's our story. And here's the bouffant cap, can be very useful. Thank you.
Very stylish.
Yes, very stylish.
Nissa'a, I saw you put your kitchen door listing too, so I'll pull that up as well so we can look at the photos of your kitchen.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I was like, do I want to do a slashes or not? I only got 10 minutes. I'm a yapper, so I will get through this 10 minutes in no time. So my name is Nissa'a. And we're based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I work for Catapult Greater Pittsburgh. Just a quick background of me. I'm a chef of 16 plus years. I've worked in many places, hospitals, rehabs, facilities, you name it. Both as an employee, as a manager position. I have done independent work with small catering to cooking classes to now I'm really honing in and focusing on food safety. That's right now, that is like the apple of my eye besides my daughter. And For me, food safety has always been a part of my journey. I felt something very passionate even in culinary school, and now being engaging and managing a shared kitchen space, I have come to realization that some people just do not understand or value the importance of creating those habits, especially preventing foodborne illnesses and outbreaks. There's a lot going on right now, things being recalled and people just not cleaning up after themselves. But what I come to know is that especially right now we're in post-COVID, post-pandemic spaces for about 5 years now, and a lot of food-based businesses were grown from that. And excited, great creativity is flowing, but however, concerns me is the mindfulness of people having a business as a whole. So one thing that I will say, people cook for their loved ones and their social media, but to understand the food, the science behind the food is what we really try to hone in when it comes to Catapult. So a little bit about Catapult. Catapult Greater Pittsburgh, we are um, a lot of our programs focus on wealth building, trauma-informed financial counseling, and policy advocate to ensure systematically disenfranchised communities can meaningfully achieve economic justice and lead dignified and equitable lives. So we have a heart for the people who are disenfranchised. We are a little bit different. We have members, I guess you can say. We have a cohort that graduates every year. They get to use our kitchen for the low cost of free for a year. I know, close your ears. I know that's crazy, right? But we let them use it for a year for free so they can, gather their business, learn the economic of their business, learn how to, build their business up. One thing that's a little different about us, we're a 24-hour kitchen as well. We are not a kitchen by itself, right? We are actually connected to an old suburban general hospital that was taken apart, and now there is a full shared space at the old suburban general hospital here in Pittsburgh. So that's one thing that's a little bit different. So we are not just a kitchen, we are the old kitchen where they used to use the cafeteria in. Okay, so we have a space that we fully weren't able to gut it out and make it, station. So we have created a space where we're able to collaborate with the hospital. What I love about our program is a lot of the chefs are able to use the opportunity to do things within the hospital, whether it be serving lunch every day, whether it be having a director do a birthday party or office party, and they're able to utilize the whole space. The cohorts are great with each other, whether it be the OG cohort that I always say, or the new cohort. They're able to collaborate. Say you're a baker, and say you're a chef. When it comes to like you're a pastry chef and you're a savory chef, they come together, they collaborate together. I don't know how to do demonstrations. I do know how to do demonstrations. Let's come together. I'm not good at selling up my station when I'm catering, but you're great at it. You know how to do floral arrangements and everything. Let's come together. So there's a lot of collaboration in our kitchen. So what I will say really quick is how we navigate our policies. For me, like I said, I worked in a lot of different places. One place that I did work that really caught my boss's eye, I can say, is that I've worked at places with a lot of trauma-informed training. So, trauma-informed training had a lot of motivational interviewing, and so that usually is when you sit down with someone and you can reflect, and kind of make them take a mirror to their face, right? So it's like we can have that conversation, but let's reflect on exactly how this affects your business, not just how it affects the kitchen, but how it affects your business. Because once you leave here, you have to now face the fact that you have these habits, right? So our kitchen is an incubator space. We use it as an incubator space. So after a few years, you have to graduate into another space. So we rotate our cohorts in and out of our kitchen, right? So how I navigate these policies for me is number one, when something goes on, immediate attention, head on. If I walk into the kitchen and I see something, I probably have a full album in my phone of pictures from this kitchen. Click, 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 click. I'm very much a click, click person. The email will go out. Hey, whose stuff that's been sitting here? Let's get it handled. and most of the times I know whose stuff it is. It's a very, we have a, in our kitchen sometimes we have repeated offenders, right? So I know the stuff, I know this color of this person's stuff. I know they put their name on their items, they put their initials on their pans. I know whose this is. I'm gonna take a picture. Hey, we gotta get this together. With that being said, after I addressed it thoroughly through email, I worked at a place and I was in a union for 9 years. If it's not on paper, it did not happen, right? So always document, always that. I always go through email, and then I might have a conversation through a one-on-one, but email is always the basis of communication. Text message, I do, text the chefs back and forth as well, but definitely through email. Um, that also keeps a track of patterns, right? So you can't say, well, I only did it once or twice. Actually, you did it 7 times this year. Let's talk about it, right? And so one thing that I will say we can work on more is accountability, and how is the process of, if you are a repeat offender and you seem to be blatantly being disrespectful to the kitchen rules, how do we transition you out? Because a lot of times with us, as a nonprofit, as someone that we're always trying to help the individual, sometimes we can lack on the accountability of, okay, so maybe this is not the right fit for you. Maybe you can transition to another kitchen with different rules, right? So those are things that we're trying to work on for sure. Um, Another thing is quarterly check-ins. I do quarterly check-ins. That's something that I'm getting back to as a new mom. I was in the motherhood trenches, so now I'm getting back to one-on-ones with all my members. Right now we have 10 members, but not all of them are present in the kitchen. So one issue that we do have is that we might have four chefs that are in the kitchen weekly, but we have a lot more on paper. So what I like to do is say, hey, you haven't been in the kitchen in a while. Maybe it's time for you to transfer your permit somewhere else. I'm big on liability. I don't want you cooking out your kitchen, but you have a permit with us. So we have to have those conversations. So quarterly check-ins with one-on-ones, and then also quarterly check-ins with the whole entire group in the kitchen. We go over new policies, any manuals, getting feedback to what can I do better. I am a team of one at the kitchen, though I work for Catapult as a whole unit. It is just me as a kitchen manager here. So when I'm not here, I look on cameras. We have a few cameras. We might not have as many as I think a lot of you have, but we do have cameras. I do check in, and for the most part, it's pretty quiet. But when it comes to one of our biggest issues is people using the kitchen undocumented. So, oh, I forgot to book today. Oh, I forgot to book today. Or you booked, 2 days and you only use one day, or you booked 2 days and you're using 4 days. So weekends are really, hard to see who's navigating out the kitchen. So that's one thing that I will say that I've done better with, is being aware of who is coming in and out the kitchen. We don't really have any issues right now. A lot of the chefs that are here that are the OGs, they're really good with accountability. They're really good with communication with each other. And if they don't feel like they want to approach that person, they will let me know. Oh, so and so left the garbage. Da, 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 and I'll have that conversation. And it's usually like, yeah, my bad, Nisa. I'm personality D on the DISC assessment, and if anyone knows have ever taken the DISC assessment, that means I'm very dominant, which means I'm very matter of factly. I don't have a lot of emotion towards the fact at hand. The facts is you did this, and let's handle that. And so we as Catapult care about the whole entire person. And so that's something that I have reeled in of me, is trauma informed, but also accountability is my main priority, because we want you to represent yourself the best way you can, right? Um, Another one is be consistent with understanding. Violations do have a charge attached to them. We charge about $35 to $55. It can go up, it can go down. It depends on how many times violated the policies. Verbal warnings are not, they do not work. I've tried that. They work for the first time, and that's it. A lot of people move the needle when there's a pocket hurt attachment to it, right? So this is something that I'm even learning now, to just be consistent and not saying, oh, you know what, it's okay, just do this for me. okay, you forgot to mop the floor. Well, can you clean the ovens then? Because the ovens look real bad, you know? So those type of things can happen and often, especially when people who really are genuinely they genuinely care about the kitchen and they're not. I don't play favoritism. I try not to do favoritism. But we do have repeat offenders who do um kind of violates here and there. I'm very much across the board. Hey, I gotta charge you. I know, you've been doing good, but we gotta have a conversation, right? And to the last thing I will say is that um where it is to improve, like I said, we want to improve in our attendance. Attendance is definitely a big one for us. We do have a graduating class cohort that maybe like 19, and a lot of times they can be intimidated about moving into the kitchen. One thing that I'm happy about is that we have a great entrepreneur staff, great entrepreneur team that we're able to meet the needs. Okay, what did we not do in the last cohort that we need to do this cohort to equip them? One thing that I have become is a proctor, so I'm a serve safe proctor. So when people come to the kitchen, they will be certified through me, and so it wouldn't, we're gonna know eyes wide open that I Nissa'a proctor them and they're serve safe. And we also, provide that if someone else, say someone on their staff needs serve safe, we also say, hey, come and get your proctor too, So we're always about equipping our people to become the best they can, So that's about it.
Perfect timing. Thank you, Nisa.
Yeah.
All
Mhm.
right. So it's time for some Q&A now. We're going to try and handle this in an orderly fashion. If y'all could use the raise your hand function in Zoom, and I'll just go down the line as who raises their hand first. Please keep the questions related to policies and procedures and how to handle difficult conversations around these topics for our three operators, and they will answer from their experience. So please raise your hand. This is for y'all. Let's get your questions answered, and I'll stop sharing so we can see everybody's face. Oh, how do you raise your hand? If you go to, let me stop sharing my screen. At the bottom of your Zoom, there's like a reaction button. It has a heart in it. And then if you click the little arrow to the right of it, actually that's not it. How do I raise here? Where's the hand raise button? You all that raised your hand, can someone help me out here? David, you raised your hand first.
It's if you just click on the reaction, it'll pull all of
Yeah.
the emojis up, and then the very bottom one is raise hand or lower hand.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That was in the right spot, just didn't go far enough. All right, David, what is your question?
So I'm a brand new kitchen operations person, like maybe 3 months now. And one of the things I'm having a hard time with is actually just confronting people about like, hey, you left our dishwasher station a mess. How would I go about doing that without being too nice or too jerkish as well?
Great question. Nisa, you raised your hand in response.
Yeah, David, you're just gonna have to figure out how to stand in your power. It's hard, I know. I went from Gordon Ramsay to now being very soft. I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to stand in the right power, right? You can stand in high power and just mow everyone over, but learn how to stand. If it was you in their shoes, would you want that accountability? Would you want that type of growth? So I say learn what standing in your power means to you, and stick to the facts. Don't add in emotion. The facts are, hey, you've been leaving the dishwasher a mess, so let's get it clean. You can use this whatever tone, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what tone you use, they're still going to be offended because you kept them accountable. So use your power, and stand in it, and it'll hurt, and you have to sit in a little bit of a position of being okay. I got to be the bad guy, and I got to be okay with that sometimes, but also balance that out with, like today, I looked at the coolers. Hey, so and so, your coal looks great. Now, often it doesn't, but your coal looks great today. Good job. So balance that out with, a positive thing.
Great advice. John, you have your hand up. Did you want to add something to
Yeah,
that?
I did. I like that idea of just you got to interact with people a lot. One thing that's helped me is to realize how much it hurts other members or other, people who are there to have, say, a dirty dishwasher or whatever it is that's dirty. Think about it. Think about what it's doing to them, what it's doing to your business. And that's going to give you some moxie. You need some moxie. And at the same time, if you relate to these people, hey, Hank, hey, Sally, that kind of thing, it's a lot easier to say, Sally, look, I love you, but we cannot have this, so it isn't like you're going to like beat them up physically or something. But you got to get that moxie in you. And I think Nissa'a said that too. So that's my comment.
Awesome. Kim, what's your question?
Yeah, my question is, I have a repeat offender that doesn't really respond when I text or email. So what's the next step? Just find him.
Which one of you Nissa'a, go for it.
What is keeping the partnership? That's the
What do you mean?
question. Do you
Keeping him there or?
Yeah, so why, if they're continuously disrespecting the rules and regulations, what is keeping you from kicking them out? I guess I want to say.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so
It's been recently that he's just not responding when I text him or I sent him a text and I've sent him an email and I've gotten no response. And when I did ask him about the text, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I've been really busy and I didn't get a chance to respond."
I'll also say maybe try out maybe a one-on-one with him and have I know he's not answering you, but send that out like, hey, let's have a one-on-one, let's have a sit down, because the Gordon Ramsay on me went off, just kick him out. But then then it's like, maybe he's going through something, maybe his dog died, we don't know. Right. Yeah. So have that one-on-one, but also, as I was said in the union, document everything.
Right.
So keep emailing, even if you don't get a response, because I've had a person like that too. Keep emailing so they can't say that, they didn't get it.
Right.
They can, so just keep it documented and also do a check-in, a personal check-in with them.
Okay, good idea. Thanks.
Yep.
John, go ahead.
Yeah, another thing you could do on that one is raise the bar. Find something with the Department of Health. Okay, so he won't respond to you, right? So you're not going to back down. So what you're going to do is be very nice, but you're going to all of a sudden come up with a Department of Health issue, right? He will respond to that. You have to keep your superiority. You're the boss of the kitchen, not of his business, but of the kitchen. And Department of Health gets him every time. The way it works.
Great advice. Daryl.
Sorry about that. So my question is a little bit different. It pertains to this, but my issue is less about enforcing the policies and procedures with our members here and more about getting my colleagues and everybody on the same page. What happens a lot here, I'm the senior operations manager of the shared kitchen space. I work very closely with the facilities director. Him and I are on the same page, but the other people who step in when him and I are off, or we have senior leadership, people have different relationships with different people, and then it's different results. So for one member, it may be a fine for their storage, and then the other member, it's dust under the rug. So my biggest thing right now, I'm actually in charge of rewriting our handbook, and I'm just trying to have it be that we are a unified front here at the staff, and that if I say something, when they go to the next person, they're saying the same thing. And even if we do disagree, it's a conversation that we have offline versus the member seeing that we are not on the same page. So in a nutshell, it's just how do I get my colleagues on the same page?
That's a great question. Which one of y'all want to take this one? Go ahead, Molly.
You're muted.
Molly, you're muted.
Got it. That's a really good question. There are 3 of us and, we've got a couple, like I said, our store staff and stuff too. And we're pretty well on the same page, but we do a lot of communication. But I definitely think in that situation, when I think sometimes that's just people not wanting to confront other people because, that's just really hard for them. One thing that we don't always, we see something happening blatantly in front of us, we're going to handle it. But a lot of times if it's after the fact, which I think we all can agree. So a lot of times we're going to catch things after the fact, once the group is already gone or you've checked cameras or something. We use an email template and we just sign it MKCO management or staff or team. But we have a template in our Gmail that says, hi, you were receiving this for a violation blank. We fill it in at date. There's a blank there. We fill it in. And the same exact email goes out time and time again. But we just fill in those blanks, the date, the time. If we have either video or camera footage of the violation, we kind of put that in there too. Let them know they have X amount of time to come review it. And then we just sign it team. And so they don't, the person sending the email doesn't have to feel like I'm personally sending this to this person. It's coming from the whole team. We are all one unified front. We're all doing the same thing. And I mean, honestly, in that situation, if I had staff that were kind of disregarding what they know I would want them to do, or they're just not sure, number one, we all got to sit down and get on the same page. These infractions are going to hit these violations. If you have a question or you're not sure what should be done, for the near future, go ahead, defer to me. Let's have the discussion. And then let's, until they start to understand, because I know with my facility manager, there was a time when he wasn't the facility manager. And he has said, I was a little bit naive until I really stepped into this role to understand how much this takes and how much reinforcement you have to give all the time. And then once he stepped in this role, he was like, oh, okay, but a lot of times, I don't like to hover over people, but the three of us communicate very well. If we have an infraction, we throw it in a group text, like, hey, such and such, X, Y, these, this is how I'm going to handle it. And then we kind of give everybody their chance to say, no, or yep, sounds great, because everybody's got to be on the same page. And not everything is just completely black and white all the time. And that can be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Sally, what's your question?
Well, a little background, just really quickly. I'm the commercial kitchen operations manager, but I also serve as a small business director for the nonprofit I work for. So I oversee the kitchens there, so it's nonprofit. We've been there for about a year now. We'll be a year in March, and I have about 35 users now. One thing I'm running into is my policies are constantly changing because obviously the more traffic we bring in, the more we learn. I'm learning a lot actually in this 1 year. But I feel like my policies are constantly changing. So what I do is I push that out in my monthly email that I send out. But I feel like since I send those monthly and things are always changing, I feel like some people just don't thoroughly read the email, so they bypass some of those policies. And I want feedback, but also if there's something that's relatable, maybe you can give me some advice. But I want to push out pretty much my updated manual with all these new policies. But how can I handle? I have specific kitchen users that don't follow these specific policies, if that makes sense. So yeah, I guess it's somewhat of a question.
Molly, is your hand up?
With the fine, hit him with it. Your failure to read and check your business email is on you. I get that too, because we had those growing pains where you get more people and you have more stuff going on. You start to realize there need to be more rules and processes and procedures in place. But at the end of the day, definitely to maybe take some time. We did a big revamp of all of our rules, maybe like a year ago. And then we pushed everything out again, just like, hey, just to remind everybody of the rules. Here's kind of a one shot of everything. That's their responsibility to read it. If they don't read it, you hit them with that fine. They do it again, you hit them again, and eventually they will learn to read their emails.
Got it. Okay.
And they'll keep getting fined. Tommy.
Hi everyone, I'm Tommy from Sunrise. So we've been at this for 10 years now. So I think over the years we kind of fine-tuned like our policies and procedures, and cleanliness has always been an issue. I think now what we still fall short is that our facility is kind of laid out similar to yours, Molly, and we have stations, but it's in the common areas, the areas like our cleaning station. We have a room for all the bakers ovens, and especially when you have two or three, four different companies using that area. Some people came in earlier, they left, and they don't want to like mop while other people are still walking around. How do you guys, or how do you guys deal with that, or is there something that we can do to kind of handle that part of it?
Lisa.
So I think everyone on this call can tell you that it's probably a common denominator, right? We have a dishwasher, we have a three-compartment sink, the fryer. I mean, so many people say, "Well, I used the fryer last night, but I only made tortillas. I used the fryer last night, I only did," and it was just like, okay, so how do we figure out who do the fryer, right? If you're cooking chicken every 2 days, baby, just do the fryer, right? So what we have personally is we have um a log. I probably could pull it out. We have a kitchen cleaning log. Every shift, every booking, there's a daily check-in log. Did you book on the portal? Did you sweep and mop? Did you disinfect? Did you wipe the counters down? Did you do the trash? All these things are listed on the thing. You have to sign off, and I have to sign off too. Date and sign off. Even if I'm not there, put it outside my office, and I will sign off it and to see if it was done. Also, the great thing about the food corridor is you can book the oven. You can book the dishwasher. You can book all these items, so that way I can say, oh, so and so used the dishwasher 3 times this week. Why is there a million pieces of rice in the dishwasher spread? So if you use, or if you're using a quarter, which I highly suggest, use a quarter, put all your items in there. Even tables, table A, B. We have a table
Yeah, we have
A all the
everything
way
in
to
there.
E. Yeah. So you use this table 3 days this week. You were just here yesterday. You used the fryer. The fryer is dirty. So there is times where it
So
says, "Go ahead, go ahead."
no, so my question, so you penalize the highest user in a way, like that's
Um,
because I know I'm gonna get pushback in terms of that
yeah,
I'm not the only one using that, or you know I wanted to
but you're
clean
the
it, but
main
so
one
is
using it though.
I get
It's
it.
it's
I
it's
mean,
hard. Yeah, it's
yeah,
hard because
but
you don't want to stick anyone to just one thing. But I
yeah.
also encourage people. This is a community space. We should be cleaning as a community.
So
Just
with the
yeah.
log, the cleaning, so you have
Mhm.
everyone check in and out before, like, so when they get there, they wherever they're going to use to, they check in and make sure yes, just to verify yes it was clean, and at the end of their shift they check out. Is that what you're saying?
No, I basically verbally someone would tell me this place was dirty before I got
Okay.
here, but I do it. I have it. You can book the table in the corridor, so I know
Yeah,
that.
we have that.
Yeah, yeah. So regular table. So we don't have some. We won't have anyone that says like, I clean the table. I clean the table. The table was clean when I got there or nothing. We just have it. This is the list of things that this is the list of expectations checklist. You have to sign off on this checklist, and I will sign off on it to make sure you did what you said you were going to do. So that includes garbage. That includes mopping the area. That includes um the dish sink that you use. You know, all those things. So I think
And
it's a
that's a
hard balance.
physical checklist. That's all.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a physical checklist right here.
okay,
So they put it, and there's a folder right outside my door. If you book that day, if you book this week, if you book 3 times this week, I need to have 3 of these in my folder outside my door. Now, it is a lot of paper, but this is something that I started
yeah.
recently again because it became to the point where there was too much. I cleaned this a lot, so and so didn't clean. So now we have to argue a checklist, right? I might fade it out a little bit over the years because right now we have about 4 people in the kitchen that utilize the kitchen. I know you're in here, so you need to be cleaning
Yeah.
the spot. So I think it's hard to navigate if you're always in here, I expect you to always clean up after yourself. So sometimes it's always leave it better than how you found it. Unfortunately, because you're not in your own space, you're in a shared space. So at the end of the day, if you're not okay with telling me, Sally Mae did not clean up after herself, and I'm tired of cleaning up after Sally Mae. If you're not okay with confronting that person or telling me, then you have to just say, you know what, I'm just going to clean up before I start and clean up when I'm done. Unfortunately, but it shouldn't be that way,
Yep.
So I say clear communication, and set them boundaries and put them fines in order.
All
That's
right.
it. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, y'all. And that's our time today. I want to thank you all so much for spending the last hour with us. I'm sorry we weren't able to get through everyone's questions. We will be doing these each month on a different topic. And these are all topics that were highly requested by the industry, by you all from our surveys and what we heard at the summit and in the NIC. So please continue to join us for these free monthly webinars. Sign up for a newsletter. That's when we'll announce the webinars. I will send you the link for our webinar next month on onboarding and vetting new businesses, so you can join that right away. The QR code for the NIC is here. Continue the conversation online. And then if you'd like to book a demo with the food corridor, there's a QR code in the middle for that. But thank you all so much for joining us today. I'll follow up with the recording and all of the links that we talked about today as well. So we hope to see you next month on March 3rd.
Thank you.
Thank you.